Oh dear.
Sarah, baby! Oh, you were one fly.
Don't make me hurt you.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 products that almost destroyed the company.
And it would be very easy for us to look back at the disasters the Comet faced in the early 1950s and to say, well, we can see what was wrong.
For this list, we'll be looking at the most disappointing flops that nearly bankrupted the manufacturer. Do you own any of these obsolete products? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. HP TouchPad, Hewlett-Packard. Apple gave the entire tech industry a roadmap for how to make a successful tablet computer. Unfortunately, Hewlett-Packard learned the hard way that their touchpad was nowhere close to an iPad. Marred by middling reviews and poor advertising, initial sales were far below expectations.
I'm very versatile.
In fact, the HP TouchPad's launch was so disastrous it didn't make it 50 days on shelves before the line was discontinued. In the chaos, Hewlett-Packard even tried to sell off their personal computer division as a whole. Luckily, the touchpads became something of a novelty and saw a sharp surge in sales due to their limited quantity. But not even that could save Hewlett-Packard's stock from dropping around 40%.
Millions of hits.
Number 9. Toothpaste Entrees, Colgate. Food and dental hygiene go hand in hand. Colgate attempted to capitalize on that in the 80s with their limited line of frozen dinners. It's a good idea on paper. You eat a Colgate meal and then clean up with some Colgate toothpaste afterward. The issue is that most people didn't want to eat something that reminded them of brushing their teeth. Allegedly, the product's sales bombed hard, causing Colgate to abandon their trek into the food industry. It's probably for the best that they've stayed with toothpaste ever since. After all, nowadays the Colgate entrees are rightfully displayed in the aptly named Museum of Failures. Number 8. N-Gage, Nokia. One part smartphone, one part gaming console, and all parts disappointing. The N-Gage failed by just about every metric. It wasn't slick enough to be a cell phone, but was too cumbersome for most gamers. As a result, the N-Gage couldn't entice its target audience and spent most of its lifespan collecting dust on the shelf. Following its dismal debut in 2003, it's no surprise that Nokia's market share plummeted. Almost 3 years later, the N-Gage was officially pulled off the production line, and lo and behold, the company's footprint grew to an all-time high. No matter how you look at it, it's clear that the N-Gage didn't do Nokia any favors.
New Engage, QD. Choose the right weapon to win the fight.
Number 7. Dreamcast, Sega.
Sega Dreamcast. It's thinking.
Despite its name, this gaming console was more of a nightmare. Not because of its quality.
I like it. Real good graphics. Real good. The water looks almost too real.
On the contrary, the Dreamcast is still regarded as one of the best consoles ever made, sporting several iconic titles like the original Sonic Adventure. However, that acclaim didn't translate to strong sales. It didn't completely sink Sega, but boy did it come close.
The company hopes to sell 1 million units by Christmas.
The Dreamcast's financial failure played a major role in Sega laying off a third of their Tokyo workforce. In 2001, they powered off the Dreamcast for good, and later abandoned the console market altogether. Since then, Sega has strictly focused on making games instead of software.
All hail Sega. Buy another Dreamcast.
What did you say?
Number 6. Premier Smokeless Cigarettes, R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company. In the face of burgeoning anti-smoker sentiment, R.J. Reynolds tried to maintain their buyer base by introducing a healthier kind of cigarette. Enter Premiers. The smokeless variants had all the nicotine of a normal drag without several drawbacks.
Oh my God! That's disgusting!
But in doing so, they also lacked the flavor that most smokers wanted. In fact, the Premiers tasted so bad, not even the proven health benefits could convince people to switch. The smokeless cigarettes were canceled after just a single year on the market, causing R.J. Reynolds to write off as much as $1 billion in losses. It's a wonder how their wallets ever recovered.
You folks at Reynolds Tobacco really do work for smokers.
Number 5. HD DVD, Toshiba.
Hey, Donkey. Yeah, my wife is none too happy with how she looks in Shrek the Third on HD DVD.
Why?
The war over home video software was fought with cash, not soldiers. At first, Toshiba's high-definition DVD players seemed like a worthy competitor for the up-and-coming Blu-ray.
But with Paramount and Universal only on HD DVD and those players selling for cut-rate prices, the battle continued.
But that was part of the issue. Audiences either couldn't tell the difference or didn't care enough to let it sway them. Since Blu-ray had the backing of film studios and most retailers, Toshiba was only left with disappointing sales figures.
With up to 6 times the details of DVD, even your current DVD collection looks great.
Eventually, the HD DVD player waved the white flag and went down in a sea of debt. Taking a look at Toshiba's output, it looks like this failure was the beginning of the end for the tech giant. Number 4. De Havilland Comet, de Havilland.
The tragedy stuns a nation.
There's a special place in history for the world's first commercial jet airliner, especially since it also holds the title of the first fatal jetliner crash. The Comet's innovations were immediately overshadowed by 3 separate accidents in its first year alone. Along with the lives of several passengers, the crash has also destroyed de Havilland's reputation.
Barely a year after the fanfares, it seemed as if the last post had sounded for the Comet.
At the very least, the controversy pushed the whole industry towards new safety standards, but by then the damage to the Comet was already done. Against safer and more economical choices, orders stopped coming in. De Havilland had to be bought and rebranded before they came close to bouncing back.
The shock, as I recall it, throughout the whole company, at every level, was very deep.
Number 3. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Atari Inc. Don't let the name fool you. This game is basically unrecognizable from the beloved 80s film, or really as a working piece of entertainment at all.
It's the video game that lets you pretend you're E.T.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial endured an unprecedented critical bashing, and that trickled down to developer Atari too. In fact, it could be argued that the company's reputation never truly recovered. Their wallet certainly didn't, but E.T.'s disastrous reception impacted more than just Atari. It's also considered one of the compounding factors behind the fall of video games in the 80s. You know your game is bad when it doesn't just threaten its own company, but the entire industry as a whole.
All he had to do was stay on that ship, and there wouldn't be a game.
Number 2. Edsel, Ford Motor Company. This product line may be a legendary failure, but it wasn't for a lack of advertising.
Unforgettably original. Elegantly styled.
Ford booked ads, assured investors, and even called its launch event E-Day. They did just about everything in their power to make Edsel the next big thing. Well, everything except making a car that people wanted to buy. The economic recession of the 50s didn't help early sales. Neither did the car's shoddy workmanship and ugly design, for that matter.
It's like falling in love.
You can read about it, hear about it, but you've got to feel it.
In the end, Ford got very little return on their investment. While the success of their other lines meant they could endure their misfire, that doesn't make it any less embarrassing.
Remember, driving an Edsel is an experience no man should miss.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Apple Newton, Apple Inc.
Newton is for all you mobile professionals out there who like cool stuff.
Thank you.
They say one bad apple spoils the bunch, but this company is a whole lot more than just one. For example, does anyone remember the Apple Pippin? We don't blame you. The defunct entertainment system bankrupted licensor Katz Media and nearly did the same to Apple too. Although the Apple Newton almost did them in long before that. The personal digital assistant was one of the first of its kind, and also one of the worst selling.
Newton lets you communicate with the whole world, and if there's anything this world could use, it is more communication.
When Steve Jobs returned to the company in 1998, he personally discontinued the Pippin and the Newton. By cutting his losses, he was able to turn this sinking ship into the tech juggernaut it is today.
Where's Newton in relation to what? The universe or Des Moines?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.